Frid och shalom vänner, här kommer den senaste uppdateringen med Amir Tsarfati direkt ifrån Israel. Är detta lugnet före stormen? Det kan man undra. Vi lyssnar på Amir och vi har...
Behind you, you can see Lower Galilee right outside our offices here. And these are breaking news. As you already know, in the past 48 hours, some very significant things happened. As we speak right now, Hassan Nasrallah has just given his speech during the funeral of the head of Hezbollah's military organization. And we are going to talk about several things, but before that, let's start with a prayer. Father, I thank you again for being the one who interferes in the affairs of men. You preside over it. You're the one that is in full control. You allow those evil people sometimes to do what they want because they are doing that which is in their heart, but then you punish them for it. Father, we thank you, we bless you, and we ask that you will now, through this update, educate, comfort, and strengthen faith of many. In Jesus' name, amen. Shalom, everyone. I'm Amir Tsarfati again. We are here in my office here in Connect in Lower Galilee. These are probably the last hours of peaceful Galilee before a retaliatory action is going to take place from the north and the northeast, and we will explain why. Couple days ago, when I gave Mideast update from our studio right outside my office here, right before the broadcast began, a big blast was heard in Beirut, but I'll talk about that in a few minutes. This morning, finally, 2.5 weeks after it took place, nearly 3 weeks after it took place, we have a clear confirmation for the elimination of Mohammed Deif. Mohammed Deif, the leader of Hamas, Al-Qassam Brigade, the supreme military leader of Hamas, elimination in Gaza. Who was Mohammed Deif? We prepared for you an ID of the person himself, and you can clearly see, and of course, as you remember, he was eliminated together with the brigade commander of Khan Yunis. Mohammed Deif was, of course, in Gaza. He was the head of the Al-Azadin al-Qassam brigades, and of course, he initiated, planned, and carried out the October 7th massacre. In fact, we heard his voice, recording of his voice when the whole thing started, the whole Tawfan al-Aqsa, the flood of al-Aqsa that he declared. He operated closely with Yahya Sinwar, the head of Hamas, and during the war, Deif managed Hamas terrorist organization in the Gaza Strip while issuing orders and directives to senior members of Hamas military wing. He joined the Hamas terrorist organization during the first Intifada in the 80s. He planned and directed numerous attacks and contributed to the organization's force buildup in Judea and Samaria. He directed, planned, and carried numerous terrorist operations, including the kidnapping and murdering of Nachshon Waxman in October of 1994. Folks, this scumbag is now declared dead. We knew he died because we dropped 12 tons of explosives where he was. In fact, let me show you the footage of the explosion of where he was at the time. There was no chance for anyone to survive this blast. We found bodies of all of his bodyguards, as well as the family members of the host of this meeting. Deif's body was not found simply because it did not exist anymore. We only found pieces of it, and Israel can confirm this morning that he's dead. And it's very interesting that the confirmation of the death of Mohammed Deif comes right today after some significant eliminations took place in the last 48 hours. In fact, let's talk about the one that we started with 2 days ago in the Mideast update, and I'm of course talking about Fuad Shukr. Take a look at what the streets of Beirut's Dahya looked like 8 p.m. a couple days ago. So as you can clearly see, there was a blast in the streets. You could see chaos. A single building was targeted, a building where we knew Fuad Shukr, the one that basically is running the show in Hezbollah. He is the one that was there together with a member of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard advisor. And Fuad Shukr found his death there. His body was recovered yesterday, and he is now being brought to burial as we speak. Now, who was Fuad Shukr? Not only Israelis should thank God for his elimination, as he was behind the massacre of the 12 children in Majd al-Shams last Saturday, but Fuad Shukr, as you can clearly see, is also someone that Americans have a lot to thank us for. Mohsen joined the Hezbollah terrorist organization in 1985. He held some senior positions there, but what you don't know, that he was actually part of the team that blew up the Marine Corps base in Beirut in 1983 and killed over 240 Marines and dozens of French soldiers as well. And he was already on the wanted list of the United States since then. Again, he joined Hezbollah officially in 1985, and let's go back to his ID on the screen so you can see. In the year 2000, he was directly involved in the abduction of the bodies of 3 Israeli soldiers. Also, he was Hezbollah's Secretary General. He was Secretary General's right-hand man and senior advisor for strategic affairs and wartime operations. And of course, he was responsible for the massacre of the children in Majd al-Shams and numerous other Israelis and foreign nationals that he killed. That's, of course, Fuad Shukr. He's being brought to burial as we speak right now. And this is exactly why Hezbollah is planning and putting, the ground for a revenge against Israel. They claim that lives of civilians were actually taken during the elimination, and he was in a civilian building. Therefore, they need to respond. Now, if that's not enough, we're talking about something that happened the night after he was eliminated. Remember, he was eliminated at 8 p.m. During the night, there was already an explosion in the governorate or in the district of Babylon, very, very interestingly and symbolic, in Iraq. In Babylon, in Iraq, a huge blast that eventually we know killed 7 militia members of the Hashd al-Shabi in Iraq. It's a pro-Iranian militias that operates in Iraq. It's an army within the country, that just like Hezbollah is in Lebanon. And apparently what was cleared for publication as of this morning is that 2 days ago, American and probably also in cooperation with Israeli Air Force destroyed UAVs, some on the ground and some already on the way to Israel, a swarm of UAVs. Probably they retaliated first for the killing of Shukr, and the Iraqis may have used a wide variety of UAVs. Ismail Qaani, the leader of the Al-Quds force in Iran, he is the one who was in Iraq and commanded the operation. As a result, 5 members of the Shiite militias organization, these are 4 of the 5 that they were eliminated. The report connects to the interception of surface-to-surface missiles also that were fired that very day from Iraq to the southern city of Eilat. So again, we had an elimination in the Dahya in Beirut, following, of course, the massacre on Saturday. Then we had a big blast in Babylon in Iraq. And then, a couple hours later, another explosion, this time in the most secured area of Tehran in Iran. And ladies and gentlemen, an explosion killed the leader of Hamas, Ismail Haniyeh, who was visiting Tehran because of the ceremony in the parliament of Iran that inaugurated the new president, Pezeshkian. This is Ismail Haniyeh. Ismail Haniyeh, we know, was the leader and chairman of Hamas's political bureau. He was the prime minister of the Palestinian National Authority in 2006. He was a prime minister in Gaza only between 2007 and 2014. Then, of course, he was the leader of Hamas in the Gaza Strip. He left Gaza in 2018. And then, of course, he spent most of the time in Qatar, in five-star hotels, luxury hotels. The guy accumulated tons of money and basically became a billionaire. He still led the attack, and of course, I don't know if you know, but a famous footage from October 7th is the one where he is watching from Qatar, from his luxurious office. He's watching the actual massacre taking place that morning while his people are massacring our people. He was laughing, he was happy, and then he gave a thanksgiving prayer to Allah in his very office. Exactly today, 300 days on the day he was brought to burial in Tehran. I mean, the funeral was started in Tehran, and then he will be actually buried in Doha, Qatar. But think about it. This is where it all happened. Do you see the isolated building over there? That is the guest house for wounded Iranian Revolutionary Guards soldiers right there. And this area that is covered is the area that was actually attacked by some sort of a shoulder missile or an anti-tank missile that, according to Benzion Makeles, it must have come from a nearby building because of the nature of the explosion. We're talking about, ladies and gentlemen, this is phenomenal. I don't know how to even explain that to you, but we're talking about a single bedroom in a specific apartment, in a specific floor of a specific building in a specific area of Tehran. And it's just about 150 yards away from the presidential palace where Khamenei lives. So whoever did that managed to penetrate the most secured area in Iran and either planted a bomb ahead of time and detonated it later, or fired some sort of a missile that some speculate could be the Israeli Spike missile. It's an anti-tank that is guided by laser, and it's a very, very smart one. And so if they use the spike or they detonated explosive that has already been planted there ahead of time, it means that someone from within, it's not just someone from within Iran, someone from within either the IRGC or Hamas ring already did that. And which is funny because, you know, I saw a video today of a Taliban group that says that they know, and they believe, and they know that actually Khamenei is the one who ordered the killing of Haniyeh. For several reasons. For one reason, it's because he dragged the whole area to a war before everybody were ready to do it simultaneously. This is the poster of Haniyeh in Pezeshkian from the night before. This is the last photo. Take a look at the last photo of, I don't know if we have it, but there's the last photo of, yeah, this is it. Take a look. That was taken 2 hours before he was killed. Now, not only he died, also together with him, his bodyguard, Wasim Abu Shaban. That is not a saint, guys. This is another terrorist, Nukhba terrorist, that in 2014, through a tunnel, managed to infiltrate into Israel together with 8 other terrorists and kill Israeli soldiers. So he was a terrorist himself, and he assisted his boss. Both of them were killed on the spot by a precise elimination in a specific room of a specific apartment, in a specific floor of a specific building, in a specific, very well-guarded location in northern Tehran. Unbelievable. Of course, what happened is, I mean, think about it. I mean, on July 13, we kill the head of Hamas military wing. July 30th, we killed the head of Hezbollah military wing. And now this is the head of Hamas political bureau. And immediately in this mosque of Jamarkan near the city of Qom, the famous revenge flag was hoisted. I don't know if you know, but every time someone very important is killed, that they are hoisting this red revenge flag. This is the Jamarkan. This is it in the Jamkaran, excuse me, near the city of Qom. So revenge is on its way, and now we need to ask ourselves, what exactly are the options of Iran? First of all, let me remind you that the Houthis want to revenge the Israeli strike on Al-Hudaydah when we destroy their depots of oil and some weapons and the cranes of the harbor, which have not been yet restored. So the Houthis need to settle the score with us. The Iraqi militias want to settle the score for what happened that night. The Iranians want to settle the score for what happened in Tehran, and Hezbollah in Lebanon wants to settle the score for what happened in Beirut. So, ladies and gentlemen, all the ring of fire from Yemen, from Iraq, from Iran, and from of course, Lebanon, together with the Palestinians that are here within, they want to plan a joint coordinated strike on Israel. A meeting was held today that included all the axes of resistance, or the axes of evil, that I may say. A meeting with the members of the Islamic Jihad, of Hamas, of the Al-Quds force, the Iranian Revolutionary Guards, of course, they're the heads, of the militias in Iraq, and the Houthis, Ansar Allah they are called. All of them met together today in Tehran to decide on a coordinated attack. The U.S. sent USS Roosevelt. The U.S. sent, we're talking about 4,000 Marines and sailors. We're talking about dozens of squadrons of planes. We're talking about all the U.S. bases are on the highest alert in Iraq and Syria and in the Middle East altogether. The British base in Cyprus and other places in the Middle East are on the highest alert. Israel, of course, is on its highest alert. And now the question is, will Iran break all rules or cross all lines, and by doing so allow us finally, unlike April 13 when we did not respond the way we should have, will we finally get the excuse that we need to go and finally paralyze Iran's oil refineries, and maybe for the first time, and it's about time, paralyze Iran's nuclear facilities? That's the question. At the same time, the Israeli military is ready for responding to any aggression from the northeast, which is Syria and Iraq, and of course from the north. And I want you to know that as far as Hamas in Gaza, they are so beaten and defeated that they couldn't even send one rocket after their leader, Haniyeh, was killed. You know, those days when we were so afraid of Gaza are over. They are defeated. We're destroying every day. We're killing scores of terrorists, and we're destroying more and more and more tunnels. Look, I don't even have words to describe to you how many tunnels we're destroying right now in Rafah mostly, but also near Khan Yunis and also in the area of Gaza City. The Israeli military is already at the point where Hamas is unable to respond. We are now really hammering them and striking all the way until they basically say enough is enough. And that's when a deal about our hostages could be achieved. And of course, we need your prayers. I know the end of the story, by the way. I know the end of the story. I know that we will survive and they will be defeated. But the last thing I wanted to say before we're done is this, folks. Remember, a couple days ago, the Turkish president said that he's willing to deploy soldiers into Israel if we are invading into Lebanon. And yesterday, Iran and Turkey decided that they can actually work together. And this morning, Dmitry Medvedev, the former president, former prime minister, and now he's a member of the Russian Security Council, he said that only an all-out war in the Middle East will bring about peace. I want to direct you to Ezekiel 38 that talks about Russia, Iran, and Turkey coming against Israel in order to take plunder and in order to destroy us. And I want to remind you that as a result of this war, they will be defeated by the God of Israel. There will come a peace, but it will be a fake peace introduced by the prince that is not the Prince of Peace, but the prince of this world. He will be hailed as the man of peace, and he is going to introduce a fake peace that will not last for too long. We are so close. We are so at the very end of, these are the very last, it's the last hour of the last days. And I want to encourage you all to, remember that God is in full control. All of this has been already foretold for us to know, to be prepared, and to look forward, to look up, for our redemption is drawing near. And I would finish with a very funny anecdote that took place when the Iranian president crashed in a helicopter. We had a joke that it was helicopter, helicopter, like he's an Israeli general. And he's the one who was the pilot. And of course, that fake news, I mean, we just had a joke. But guess what? Take a look at the French newscaster that said the following thing about helicopter. I don't know, do we have it? If we do, watch this.
Affirme que le pilote de l'hélicoptère serait un agent du Mossad. Il donne même son nom.
So he's basically saying helicopter. He thought that it's a real name. And by the way, helicopter comes from the Hebrew word helicopter this is how he crashed. So yesterday, Dr. Eli David threw another joke and said that the person who killed Haniyeh was Amit Nakesh. Amit Nakesh. And take a look. All the Turkish newspapers talked about Amit Nakesh, but let me tell you, Amit Nakesh means in Hebrew, the assassin. And it's very, very funny how we can throw a joke, and the media that is so biased and so anti-Israel, they don't even do fact-checking. They don't even try to understand the real facts. They immediately fish anything that can frame Israel, and then they put it on their front pages. Amit Nakesh. The Hebrew word Amit Nakesh is the assassin. So we threw in the air some sort of a colonel, Israeli colonel called Amit Nakesh. Of course, it's a joke. And the very stupid, worldly media that is just hungry for something against Israel immediately ate that bait and fell into that trap. Okay, this is it, folks. Pray for Israel. The next 48 hours will be very stormy. We're actually more than that, because from intelligence that we have, they're planning 3 days of major assault on Israel for the 3 days of mourning for both Haniyeh and for Fouad Shukr. And of course, they want to, hurt us. They are so humiliated. They're so humiliated that they were penetrated, that we managed to go straight to the actual heart of their strongholds, both in Beirut and in Tehran, that they are seeking for some sort of a revenge. We are bracing for hundreds of rockets and swarms of drones. We have some help from around us, but most of it's for lessons that we learned from April 13th, from what was done and what could have been done even better. And I believe that Israel is much stronger now. I believe that deterrence has been restored. But I will tell you this. Israel deterrence was so badly damaged after October 7th that, Fuad Shukr didn't think even that he needs to hide. And Hania didn't even think that he needs to hide. I mean, the very fact that we're able to kill them, not even in hiding places, even when we killed Muhammad Def, not even in his hiding place under the ground, but in a villa above the ground, it tells you how much they felt confident that we are so weak and we won't be able to do anything. And we proved them wrong. All of them are dead. And now I think Israel is being looked at differently in the Arab world. This is it, folks. Pray for Israel. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. It's not even a request, it's a command. And thank you again for everything